Hello and welcome to a look at Super Scramble Simulator for the Commodore 64, a game that was made by Magnetic Fields and released by Gremlin. Let's start by going back a few years before the release of this game and look at two specific titles, namely Kickstart and Kickstart 2. Made of course by Mr. Chip Software. Kickstart is a dirt bike racing game in which you race various different courses filled with obstacles that has to be navigated at different speeds, and some of them have to be jumped and all that kind of stuff, and your main concern is the speed of which you navigate the obstacles and making sure to do safe landings after jumps. Kickstart 2 streamlined and rectified some of the issues in the original game and added a course designer. The relevance of this information, of course, is the fact that at one point or another, for whatever reason, Mr. Chip Software renamed themselves to Magnetic Fields, a team that is most likely, for that time at least, best known for the absolutely excellent and never to be beaten racing series on the Amiga, the Lotus Trilogy. Super Scramble Simulator is in essence an advanced version of the games Kickstart and Kickstart 2. But before you stop watching the video based on that information, let me assure you that the word simulator is not just a gimmicky tag that's been put on the title in order to make it stand out or look fancy. It is a very real word that has to be taken very seriously in this game. The game consists of 15 different courses divided into 5 sets of 3 courses each that you can have fun trying to navigate. Within a set, the 3 courses can be completed in any order, but all 3 has to be completed in order to progress to the next set. The courses contain various different obstacles that has to be tackled at various different speeds, but there's an awful lot more to it than just that. You are in control of the front wheel by doing wheelies, but you are also in control of even the rear wheel that you can lift independently of the front wheel. Obviously you can't lift both at the same time because the bike can't fly. But that means, of course, that when you are navigating an obstacle, you have to do a wheelie first to get the front wheel clear, and then lift the rear wheel in order to clear the back wheel as well, or you will fail to navigate the obstacle. Each course has a time limit that you have to complete the course within, and if you consider that failing to clear an obstacle for whatever reason will be penalized by a time penalty depending on the way you failed. And if you fail to navigate an obstacle a set amount of times even, that is dependent on what set you are on, you will be pushed forward to the next obstacle at the tune of a 25-second penalty. If you consider that 25-second penalty alongside any penalties you got for failing to navigate the obstacle, the time limit is not particularly generous for most tracks. If we look at the interface, you can see at the bottom left side you have the timer, and it always feels like you don't have enough of it. To the right of that, the dial is the speedometer. The middle 3 green boxes are your gear indicators. The box that is red is the current gear you are in. And to the right of that you have your ref counter, which is actually much more of an important guideline than the speedometer. And further to the right you have your score, which is building up as you do things and gain bonuses. From a graphical point of view, the courses can seem a bit coarse in design, but considering this is a dirt bike racing game, I'm not entirely convinced that that is not intentional. The rider and the bike have a fairly high level of detail, and they seem to respond somewhat appropriately to the different obstacles you are navigating or failing to navigate. The graphics are not going to win any prizes for being stellarly epic, but I'm perfectly happy with the graphics as a whole. When it comes to the sound effects, the predominant sound effect is the engine sound, which can be a bit grating after a while, I suppose, but if you have ever watched real dirt bike racing, you will know that the one sound you'll be hearing an awful lot is the sound of engines roaring, so it is very fitting. The title tune is fairly decent. It sort of sets you in the mood for some dirt bike racing, so I will regard it as being fairly appropriate for the game. The in-game jingles are supposed to be informative, and they are, but they're also a bit simple. But it's not going to detract from the soundscape as a whole. Then we reach the important part, which is the control setup. Right to accelerate, left to brake, up and down without the fire button to reposition your rider on the different courses. As you can see in the middle bar thing, which is actually an overhead view of the rider. With the fire button pressed, you do wheelies by pushing right. You lift the rear wheel by pushing left. You shift up a gear by pushing up, and you shift down a gear by pushing down. If you are in the middle of a jump, then without using the fire button, pushing right will lower the front wheel and pushing left will raise it. These controls has to be combined in order to navigate the various different obstacles. And due to the fact that the obstacles can be incredibly sensitive to any deviation from whatever the game is considering to be the safety margin for navigating said obstacles, you can find the gameplay can be frustrating. Going even slightly too fast will cause you to fail, but if you go too slow, then your engine is going to stall, causing you to fail as well. So you can quickly imagine that it is like doing a tightrope walking while spinning plates, being blindfolded at the same time. The controls are perfectly responsive, but the gentleness in which you have to apply said controls is much more akin to what you would expect from an analog input device and not from a digital input device. And it gives the game a difficulty that I'm sure many players will find off-putting. In a later interview, the boss of Gremlin himself said that they had probably overtuned the difficulty of this game. That being said, during the making of this video, at no point did I feel like giving up or giving in, and if you have the persistence and tenacity to get used to the controls and the incredible sensitivity of them, you can, pun intended, get an awful lot of mileage out of this game. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.